What if I told you that the need to explain yourself could be the very thing holding you back from becoming your true self? Most people don't realize it, but there's a silent force in our relationships, the constant compulsion to justify our choices, feelings, and actions. This habit seems harmless, even polite. We tell ourselves that explaining is a sign of empathy, a way to make others understand. But deep down, there's something more troubling at play. Carl Jung, one of the greatest pioneers in psychology, uncovered a disturbing truth about this behavior. For him, the repeated need to justify yourself is a sign of disconnection from your true self. It's not just about being misunderstood. It's about the fact that you're trying to convince others of your worth because you never learned to value yourself. This constant need for external validation isn't just a minor issue. It's a reflection of an emotional wound from childhood. If you grew up in an environment where your feelings were invalidated, where expressions of sadness or anger were dismissed, you internalized the dangerous belief, "What I feel only matters if others approve of it." This belief doesn't disappear as we grow. It follows us into adulthood, leading us to endlessly explain ourselves in order to avoid rejection or judgment. What price do you pay for explaining yourself constantly? It's more than just emotional exhaustion. It's the slow loss of your internal authority. As you focus on gaining approval from others, you begin neglecting the most important voice in your life, your own. The more you explain, the less you act on your own truth. You stop living authentically and begin acting to avoid being misunderstood. The result? You become a performer in your own life. Jung identified this compulsive need to explain as a major obstacle on the path to individuation, the process of becoming who you truly are. When you constantly explain yourself, you are unconsciously submitting to others' judgment. Each time you justify your emotions, actions, or decisions, you're allowing someone else's perspective to shape your reality. Instead of feeling freely, you begin rationalizing everything to avoid criticism, which means you're no longer living for yourself, you're living for others. Jung's warning was clear. As long as you need to explain yourself, you remain imprisoned in a cycle of self-neglect. The longer you depend on external validation, the more you lose touch with your true self. But what happens when you stop explaining yourself? Everything changes. The moment you choose silence over justification, you're not just avoiding conflict, you're reclaiming your psychological freedom. The silence that arises from within isn't emptiness. It's the powerful presence of internal authority, a stance that says, "I don't need your permission to exist." This silence is where true transformation begins. Jung understood that the act of stopping self-explanation is the beginning of healing. This silence disrupts the cycle of self-betrayal, where you mold yourself to fit others' expectations. When you stop explaining, you stop betraying your truth. Yes, the initial silence is uncomfortable. It brings up fear, the fear of judgment, the fear of being abandoned. But the more you embrace this silence, the stronger your inner authority becomes. This silence isn't about being arrogant. It's about integrity. It's about honoring your truth, even when others don't understand or approve. With each moment of silence, you begin to rebuild the internal authority that was once lost. No longer will you seek others' approval to validate your emotions, your actions, or your very existence? What would it be like to live without constantly needing to explain yourself? To feel no fear of judgment or rejection because you already know who you are. This is the power of internal authority, the cornerstone of Jung's process of individuation. It's the moment when you stop seeking validation from others and start living your truth, unapologetically. And when this happens, your life will shift in ways you can't even imagine. Internal authority is the key to breaking free from the need to explain yourself. It means recognizing that your truth doesn't need to be justified. It means standing firm in who you are, even when others don't understand or agree. Jung taught that true psychological freedom comes not from the approval of others, but from the deep conviction that your truth is valid, regardless of outside opinion. When you embrace this internal authority, your relationships begin to change. No longer will you attract people who need to control or manipulate you. Instead, you'll draw in those who respect you for who you truly are. The world around you will treat you differently because you've stopped living for others' approval and started living for yourself. If this resonates with you, it's time to begin your journey towards psychological freedom. Stop justifying yourself. Start embracing your silence as a powerful declaration of your true self. Subscribe, like, and share this video to help others reclaim their inner authority. It's time to stop explaining and start living authentically.